What is going on, everybody? It is me, the Viking Weep. I'm back at it again. Another episode of Gentlest of Men. I'm here with No Name from No Name Gaming. I appreciate you for being out, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just realized my seat doesn't go any lower, and that's kind of bumming me out, though. But besides that, doing good. Side note, let me know if my audio gets like blown out, because for some reason the microphone will just dial the gain up by itself, and I don't know how or why that happens.
Agreed. I will let you know when you're blowing my
I
audio out.
All right, I appreciate that. I'm also gonna move my camera because I stare a lot in this direction, and I'd rather have it so that I'm looking. Oh, sweet, and you can see my lovely shelf behind me, maybe.
Bro, you looking like one of them professional streamers?
I need to get lights for those so that you can actually see what's there instead
That
of
would
you
be
just
really cool.
guessing what's there.
I don't know what's there, but
But
it looks
anyway,
cool as fuck. Whatever it
it
is.
looks like you collect a lot of whatever that is.
But yes, today's topic for Gentlemen, episode 14, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. We're on episode 14. So we're cruising and maybe
Cruising.
slightly bruising.
Oh, slightly. Okay.
Slightly
Looking
bruising.
banana.
Right. Today's topic, so we're going to go over some books. Specifically books that both myself and No Name have read. We want to give a full, in-depth review of them. There will be spoilers in these reviews because
Spoiler
I'm
alert.
I'm not stopping my excitement to talk about these books. Don't mind me. I'm using a new hand tracking software, by the way. So if my hands just randomly move, it's because I talk with my hands a lot, and yeah, nothing to be afraid of. Hands are hands.
Hands are hands.
Hands are hands. It's funny because I'm not actively, I'm not streaming my content in the Discord for No Name to see, so he can't see when I move my hands around.
Yeah, I was gonna say a little peek behind the curtain. I have no idea what the fuck you look like or what your character is doing. So I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, I have no idea what he's doing. And I kind of like that. Like it keeps me guessing.
Yeah, moving my hand right now, dude.
Oh shit.
But without further ado, let's jump into it. Book one, the one I'm most excited to talk about. I want to start with this one. Let's start strong. The Haar,
Fuck, I knew it. That was the other one I didn't type in yet. Okay. Anyways,
bro. So the Haar, real quick, down and dirty. The Haar is basically a horror book. Now, horror is subjective, but like this is like
yeah.
a monster horror book. I don't know why, but I really do sway hard towards the monster horror genre. That just that just gets me. I love it so much. I don't know why. But the horror
Fair enough.
is, in my opinion, one of my favorite reads of 2024. And yeah, it was something so special and so simple as female rage. Now, I'm not saying female rage is simple, it's actually super complex, but they made it so simple in this book to follow and understand. And I loved it. I loved it. Before I jump into essentially how the book starts, what's it about? No Name, what was your take on it?
Oh, it starts?
Just the book overall, without
Oh,
spoilers,
okay,
without
okay.
anything. What's your
Without
take?
spoilers? It was one of those plots that just had me like, I hope. I hope they get what they deserve. That was like the
Yes.
biggest thing for me the entire time was,
Yes.
God, do I hope this person just
Eats
gets it.
fucking shit. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah. Like you said, the female rage was so like it made it so understanding. And it just made it so like you understood her thought process and everything she did. And
Yeah.
it was just like it just yeah.
Do it again.
Yes.
Do it again.
Yeah. Get him. Get him. Come on, get him. Yeah.
No,
It
it
just made me
was.
happy to listen to, and also the voice acting, phenomenal.
Oh, top tier. I don't
Yeah.
think the
It
voice
was.
acting needed to be that good.
Oh gosh, yeah. So for those who don't know, this book takes place like the setting is in Scotland, and so the person reading the book on my Audible was a Scottish actress, and she nailed it, and it just made it that much more immersive.
Yep.
And gosh, it was good. It was good.
You're right. Immersive is absolutely the word there, because 1,000%, dude. I felt like when she was acting out as the main character, which I'm drawing a blank on the name, but
Uh,
is it Gertrude?
Muriel.
That's it, Muriel. I was kidding with Gertrude, but I was just throwing that. I knew it was an old people name.
Yeah.
But yes, Muriel. She, why? No, I'm not doing it with two hands. I put my hands down. I just put my hands up, and then they just put one hand up. Both my hands like sink.
I was gonna say, is that bugging?
It did bug for a second. No, Muriel was probably one of the coolest characters to follow because Muriel is this old lady. The book starts off in this fishing town, and it's not super. I don't want to say diverse, but like it's not. Very poor, and there's this American billionaire coming through and buying up all the houses, buying up all the land. He's making idle, well, I shouldn't say idle. He's making threats. He's bribing. He has the police on his side. He has people going out there to start trouble. I think he like paid
Yeah.
off a band of like misfit
I was gonna say
kids.
he just has so much money. He's just paying other people to do what he wants to have done, so that people will move.
I mean, he's paying people to bully this old lady because at this point, she's probably one of the only people that won't leave. Now, she does have a really good friend in the town. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it was something simple like Tom or some shit.
Arthur,
Damn, I was wrong about both of those.
I
Not
think.
simple.
Well, that's me guessing. I'm not even gonna lie, because I think I remember her going Arthur or something like that. That was me butchering a Scottish accent, but
You heard it here first. No
yeah,
Name is not Scottish.
no, if
Not
you
even a
couldn't tell.
little. Oh, no, they could tell. They could tell.
Uh, they absolutely
They knew
could tell.
right away. Let me actually move. But yes. So she has this friend, and he's like the backbone of what I like to call her sanity. When he's in the book, she's like able to stay kind of normal, kind of sane. She is a widower, and so is he, and they've kind of been the only, like they've been keeping each other company, is basically how it's been going. Her husband was lost at sea for a long period of time. I think it was like 40 or some years, something like that, where he's
Yeah,
just been gone.
yeah.
And she's been, I guess, just living, trying to at least, you know.
Livin.
And likewise, Arthur, for lack of not knowing exactly his name or if that actually is his name, I have no idea. I'm just going to go with it. Arthur has been kind of in the same boat, minus like his wife died, so they've just been keeping each other company. He's also not about the billionaire buying everything up. And I mentioned earlier that this multi-billionaire is sending, people to bully them. Well, he sends a band of misfit kids. I don't want to say kids; they're probably in their mid-20s, early 20s. And they like
Yeah.
kill this dude. They burn his house. They kill this dude, and that's what sets in motion, in my opinion. And No Name, you might have your own opinion about this, but that's what sets in motion Muriel really going down the rabbit hole of insanity. Now, it starts slow, but once she meets this jellyfish looking object on the beach, that's where it starts to pick up. And I say
Mhm.
jellyfish object, like we know that's not just a jellyfish object. Like it looked like it was
Yeah.
absolutely alive. They describe it in the book as like it's alive. She tries to give it water, it doesn't want it. She accidentally gets cut or something like that, and she notices it reacts to her blood, so she like just
Hmm.
holds her arm above it, and this thing is just reveling in her blood. It loves it, and it's one of those things like, no, you wouldn't do that. But maybe like if you lost your best friend and you were old and like you didn't know what you were gonna do, and you were the only person that wasn't willing to sell your home, like maybe you would. Maybe you would. And that's why I love female rage books now, because there isn't really a rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's just because. That's really dope.
I think personally, reading it, I saw less insanity and less. This is someone. I don't know how far we want to get into us talking about it before we start talking about each chapter almost, or something like that. But like essentially, man, I don't want to give it away yet. I would rather just have you go over it and then be like, yeah, this is what I think. But it felt like it was something to fill the void of loneliness.
Yes.
And I could see what you meant by like insanity, but it's such a relatable theme of like you were married to this person your entire life. You
Yep.
lost him. You had a best friend who you grew up with, and he's always been around. It was always platonic between y'all, but then something happens with him, and then now you're literally left with no one because your family moved away, and so you're sitting there and you're like, well, shit, I'm being sought after because I have this house that somebody wants and they're trying to do shit to me. And now I have this thing that it's like when you get a pet after someone passes away, it helps fill the void and helps you move on. That's what I kind of saw it happen at first, at least.
Yeah. No, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. No, actually, that's super accurate. I'll fast track us just a little bit because I do want to discuss a lot about this book specifically. The peak events. She gets her ass kicked on the beach by one of these band of kid mercenaries.
It's actually the son
Well, he was out
of the
there with
guy.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, it was him trying to pipe down some other chick, and then
Hell yeah.
she 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 came walking by because it's where her husband and her used to go a lot. Yeah,
Popular
and she
spot.
beat. Yeah, I guess. And so, yeah, so she gets her ass kicked by a dude literally half her age. Probably
Yeah.
three. Oh God, probably more than that, but still.
Yes.
That
Gets her ass
that was the
kicked.
first. That was the first time I went. I hope you fuck. Ah, dude, I hope you get it. I hope you get it later.
Hell yeah. Dude, take us from
Yeah.
there. Take us from there for a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, basically she gets her butt handed to her. Like it's not like a full on fight. It's just essentially bullying
Yeah.
where the kid just I say kid again, dude's probably in his 30s. Um just kind of knocks her around a little bit. I feel like a full on beatdown is not the word for it. It is just like he like trips her and like pushes her on the ground and hits her once or twice. Um and then kind of just leaves her and she just like goes to where her husband and her went, and that's where she finds the jellyfish, I think, if I'm
Well,
not mistaken.
she finds it on the beach prior to getting her ass
Oh,
kicked.
she finds
Then
it
she goes to
prior.
the
Okay.
cave.
I thought it was after. So is that where she finds out what it likes?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that
Then she
makes
gets her
more
ass
sense.
kicked by the cave. Then she
By
wakes
the cave.
up by the cave. Monster's
Yeah.
gone as she walks back to her house. But also, what's it? When she gets home, her like place is like unlocked.
Yeah, yeah. She thought somebody broke in or something, right?
Well, I mean, they did.
Oh yeah. I'm okay. Yeah, technically, I guess they did. They did. And is that where, like,
Yep.
all that? Oh gosh, that, I was working when I listened to this, and I was like, oh my god.
Yo, the description that the author
Yeah.
throws in for a lot of these scenes, I don't feel is necessary, but boy, did I enjoy reading it
It just makes it feel like one. It feels like you can see it in your mind.
easily.
You see it perfectly on how he describes it, but he's not like Stephen King describing something. He is just very blunt and real about what would happen, and
Yeah.
it's like, and it's just happening quicker and quicker, and then it's done, and it's like in a paragraph, something happens, but like there was still a level of detail there that you're like, fuck, this happened quick, and like I feel like we're just already moving on. Did you want to talk about what happens? Because it was just the one kid, right? Or was it two? It
No,
might
it's
have
just the
been one.
one.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
because it was the one they were prepping her place, right? To like burn it down, like
yeah,
the like her friends.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's when Avalon. By the way, that's what the jellyfish she names it is Avalon.
Hell yeah.
And this creature, there's like some folklore about what like these creatures are. I don't know. I can't remember what he called himself, but imagine like, oh, you know what's the perfect way to describe this? Have you ever watched X-Men, the original X-Men?
You talking about the animated series or you talking about the movies?
No, the movie, the
Oh,
like
yeah.
the first movie. So, do you remember the scene where the one dude like turns into water essentially, where he like melts on the operating table?
Yeah.
That's how I pictured the dude or Avalon through the entire story. Like semi like looks human, but like you can see through him essentially. Where he looks like a gelatinous mass where you can still see through him and there's still like aquatic features, but he still has the body of like a human.
That's
As in
pretty
like
accurate. Yeah. I can
arms and
dig that.
legs, but it's like gelatin. And so essentially what Avalon does is to feed, he like assimilates them or like disintegrates them with himself. It's essentially a gelatinous mass where like what in D&D if somebody is in a gelatinous mass, they take acidic damage because it is eating away at like the at their like skin and then their muscle, but it's slow. The way that this creature makes it happen is in like seconds. And the way it starts was like the guy like he got his foot stuck in it or something like that.
Yeah, it was something
And
simple.
it started off simple and like he couldn't move his leg anymore. Like whatever had him. Like it he was not budging. And like he ends up falling backwards and then like he drops the lighter in a house full of gasoline, but it doesn't go off. Which I absolutely thought it was gonna go off when he dropped the lighter.
Oh,
Cause he
great.
was like reaching for it later after like while it's going up his leg. And like as it's going up his leg,
Going
his
up his
foot's already like,
leg
oh yeah.
into.
Oh yeah, all the way up the thigh. And as he's like reaching for the lighter, he can feel his foot disintegrate and like break off essentially and like see it floating in this creature. That's not the only time that happens while he's being eaten alive essentially, because he's trying to grab the lighter and then he in vivid detail says how the creature assimilates and eats the dude's dick essentially, and like where he like there is an entire sentence saying as I reach for the lighter I look back as I watch it just like detach my cock or something like that, and the dude's like, you mother, or like
Oh, yeah.
you ate my cock or something like that, and I was like, wow, what terrible last words that is.
Yep.
and yeah, the dude shouts that, but then like the creature then like covers the body and like just eats it. And so essentially all it leaves is like a giant blood trail.
Yeah. Yeah. And mind you, if we didn't say it before, this is all happening in Muriel's house.
Yeah, in Muriel's house before she wakes up. And
On the
then she
beach.
gets there. Yeah, and then she sees all of like the aftermath to be greeted by uh her husband, right?
That's right. It's her
Like this is
husband.
the first time he like shows up. So what Avalon can do is
Butt
shapeshift
ass naked.
essentially. Yeah, straight like stark as a newborn babe, as I think she said. I could be wrong, but that seems like something she would say.
Yeah. Great use of Scottish
Thanks, man. I try.
verbs.
Yeah. And so she realizes that Avalon can like shapeshift. He's almost a changeling, right? Or he can appear as whoever he wants. And so since she saved him, he was doing her the service of like, hey, let me let me help you out. And since I had your blood, I knew this person from your memories, and I knew how much like affection you had for them. So I decided to take their appearance. And as I think any loving widow would, like, she doesn't freak out or get upset. She's like, holy hell, I get to see my Billy the way as I remember
Yeah.
him. Yeah. And it was kind of like a heartwarming scene after just a gruesome murder happens. But I was like, oh man, she gets to see her husband again. It's almost what anyone would wish for,
Yep.
essentially.
Easily.
And yeah, it's just that scene where it's like, I get why you're like, you get to see them how you remember them, not how they were or what happened. Like you're getting that time back. And so you're gonna have to fill in some gaps here because I don't really remember what happened from here. I just remember downtime essentially of what goes on.
I mean, it was very slice of life for a little while, but
Yeah,
the big things that happen is A, she asks Avalon to like be her husband, basically. Like she calls him Billy.
yeah,
She refers to him as Billy. She says things like, "You remember when we did this?" And it was like that's stuff she did with her husband, not Avalon. But
yeah,
because she saved him on the beach, he chooses to be this guardian for her, as well as he feels her pain from not only losing a friend, but also being like bullied and being trying to kick out of this town.
yeah.
And Avalon hasn't been with humankind for a long period of
For a
time.
while.
So, yeah, no, he hasn't been with humankind. And essentially, he just felt like he needed to help her, I guess.
Yeah.
And it kind of moves forward in a. I think the pace in this book was actually perfect. I think the pacing was perfect because we get slice of life. You see numerous instances happen where she's still being bullied, but like Avalon is still kind of helping in a way. I don't want to dive
Almost
into
as a vent
each.
though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it wasn't so much that Avalon's going out all the time and just killing these dudes that are bullying her. It
Yeah.
is it is just like an everyday like thing where it's like, oh yeah, this happened today, and she just gets to have that time with her husband again, where she's just talking to him about her day, and she obviously knows it's not her husband, and she has to be careful that he doesn't go out and like. Oh, also that's another thing is she stopped like calling it an Avalon, and now it is a he. It's him. It's Billy,
Yeah.
like you said earlier, like she calls him Billy a lot, and it's always a he him like reference to him. Like it's no longer an it in her eyes, and so she was just kind of like just talking to him, and it was nice, like you said with the pacing, where something happens, there's a lull, but it almost feels like real time. It's a lull enough for like shit to happen in real life where it's like if someone goes missing, it's not like, oh yeah, they're going to be here for like months and stuff. They're enjoying time together. Like I think the entire book encapsulates like a week,
I think you're right. I
maybe
think it is.
maybe less.
I think it is like a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that it's super dope. I think one of the biggest moments that we get out of that is, or specifically the slice of life, right? I think is
Hmm.
there's a scene where he takes her to the cave that her and Billy like first
Yeah.
did it in, and he is able to almost assimilate with her without disintegrating and eating her,
Oh, that's right.
and
Yeah, because
he
she like
makes her young again.
yeah, where she's like 30 years old again or something like that.
And they do it.
Kind of, as much as they can,
Yeah,
essentially. And does she sleep there that night?
they both do.
For a little bit.
Yeah,
Because if I remember, it cuts to like these two guards POVs, right?
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
three
this
actually.
was no, it was just two of them,
It was
wasn't it?
two, but a third arrived.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Remember the
yeah.
dude that was like, "This
And
is strange.
yeah,
This doesn't just happen."
yeah, because essentially, I don't know why they're there. I can't remember the context, but it's just two dudes on a beach, right? And
They're the
they work
they're
for
the
the dude,
construction
right?
workers, the guys that were like taking down
Oh, they're
houses
like
and shit.
yeah, but also they're like not great people,
No.
because they work for the dude, and so I can't remember the big bad guy's name, but essentially they work for him, buying up all the places, and they're just out having a smoke break essentially in the middle of the night, and they see somebody walking up to them in the middle of the night on the beach, and it happens to be a woman, and they're like,
Well,
"Wow, do you see this?" And the guy's like I'm tripping, right? And essentially they see this like 30-year-old female with, and I quote, massive knockers. And I was just like, wow, okay. Didn't know I needed to know that about Muriel.
yeah. Well,
But thanks, author.
yeah. This is 30-year-old Muriel, by the way.
Yeah. Also, you don't know that until a little bit later. Like not like maybe 5 minutes after what's about to happen. You just know that there's this really fine looking woman walking up to them, stark naked, and they're like, "Oh wow. Okay." And she just basically like they're talking up to her like a guy, well, not I don't want to say that like a guy would, but
Like
essentially
a
like a
douchebag.
degenerate would. Yeah. Like, and they're like, "What are you doing out here? Oh, you must be cold. Mind if I warm you up? But I'm not giving you any of my clothes." And so the female just goes, "Yeah, all right." And the guy are like, "Holy shit, what?"
Like, this
And
doesn't just happen.
yeah, cause like he's like, "All right, say no more," and like drops trowel on the beach, and she starts giving him head. And the
Yeah.
dude's like, "This is wild. This is awesome." She's like doing everything great. Like she's super wet in the mouth. Dude, you should have a go around back. And the girl like arches her back. And they're like, "Holy shit, this is amazing." And they're going at it. And the dude's like super descriptive about what's going on back there and is like, "Wow, she's super wet." And it just turns into, "Wow, she's clamping hard on this. Wow, I can't pull out. Wow, is that my dick I see just going deeper into her but no longer attached to me?"
Yeah. Yeah.
It becomes one pump, two pump. Where the fuck is the pump? Oh
we,
my god, she stole my pump.
we lost the pump.
Yeah, for real. And it was just like the quick, again, the quick of she is quickly disintegrating these men. And it's always the dick.
Gotta love that.
Um, because one's going from behind and the other is getting head. So obviously he realizes very quickly on what's happening, and the two are assimilated.
Yep. And the third dude is as well, because the third dude was the guy that was like, "This doesn't just happen. This is weird," and like he was watching his buddies just fucking this thing, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Nah, I'm not gonna get involved." And he ends up, I forget how he gets involved. I think she reaches her hand out and she's like, "Join us,"
Oh
and
yeah.
he
Yeah.
does. He like, I think he grabs her hand, but he doesn't like go in like for it, and he can't get away.
Yeah. He's locked in. Long story short, it's Avalon, by the way. And like I said earlier, he can shapeshift into, or it can shapeshift into anything it wants, and it that really benefited him at that moment, I guess.
Sure did.
Sure did.
Didn't
Yeah, and then he
benefit the construction workers though.
no, no, and then afterwards, that's you find out like he took like she tells her or he tells her that he took her appearance last night or something like that. And that's when you're like, "Oh, that was oh my. I didn't need to know everything about that." Cuz I felt a little ashamed. I was like, "Oh, wow. I don't need to know the details of this old lady when she was 30 years old and how she looked." But it was
Slaying.
funny.
Billy was a lucky guy.
Billy Billy knew what he liked. Apparently not enough to stick around though.
Damn.
Anyways,
Zing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh after oh gosh. I can't remember how like fast things spiral.
Uh, they do spiral. However, it's less
Oh,
like
when
at
she
this
goes
point of the
back, it's the
book.
fucking one lady, right?
Yeah. But that's like
Yeah.
even that's a lot later as well. That's towards the end.
Oh, okay, okay.
No, no, no. In the middle here,
Yeah.
there's like a long there's a lot of chapters that we start seeing Muriel kind of, I don't want to say lose it, but you could tell that she kind of, what, I don't know how to really to describe this. You could
Well,
tell
is it
she's
because like
losing her touch with reality.
is it because Avalon like keeps slipping out of like Billy's form because he needs blood constantly?
Yes, we get a
And
lot of
then
that.
like she's like, I need to do whatever I need to make sure he looks like Billy. So she ends up like start cutting herself so that he
Yes.
can take a little bit of blood. And yeah, that's where I think she starts getting desensitized to reality a little bit, where it's like I will do anything to see my Billy again, even
Yep.
if even if I have to do this. But the thing about it is, every time she does this, he'll take a little bit of blood for her, but he always heals her essentially. So like it like heals over immediately. It leaves like a little bit of a scar, but like not a super like obvious one,
Yeah.
if I recall.
Yep.
Okay, okay. Also, he basically lives in her bathtub during this time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Get slayed by the sea monster. Yeah, no, you're going to the bathtub.
You're sleeping in
You're
the
staying
bathtub.
here.
You're coming back with me.
But then we do start like trailing into the end of the book here, where the multi-billionaire starts getting a little bit more serious about acquiring her house,
Yeah.
acquiring this land, and basically it comes down to a showdown that we get at the very end, which is a much needed showdown. I really, really
Absolutely.
enjoyed the end of this book. It was probably one of my favorite things of this book. But essentially, Billy, aka Avalon, has not been able to eat in a couple days. He is what
He's like
Muriel
tiny, ain't he?
thinks. Yeah, he's so small, he's so transparent, and he is essentially at death's door, is kind of how he's described to us, which is weird
And
because,
just
like,
to
you
put
know,
in perspective how small he is, he ends up like going being stashed in her purse for a little bit. For
Yeah.
like I think one outing or something like that. But
Yeah, that's accurate. Love
just
that.
like so that people know how small he is. Um,
But yeah, no, he's super tiny, super small, and this showdown,
mhm.
multi-billionaire, he really wants this house, and he decides to come out there personally. News crews are out there. He's got his like Secret Service having ass people out there.
Well, I was gonna say, isn't it because like they think they can pin her on like the death of someone,
I think what
like
they're trying to
or
do is they think they can get her committed because
oh,
of how
okay, okay,
crazy she's been acting. And
crazy.
so homie's out there, the billionaire, he's got his like Secret Service team out there with him. There's like probably a total like 30 dudes. And then the lady from the beginning that was trying to like solicit and to get her house from her and buy it, she's there too. She's not really an important character. It's not, we haven't mentioned her a lot, but she is kind of a
Yeah.
source of the craziness because she does call Murray out on him being like crazy and stupid. And she,
Other names.
yeah, oh yeah, she's basically, if you can think of a plastic woman, that's what this woman's like.
Wow, good way to describe her.
Yeah, plastic. But yeah, so these dudes are basically about to break into her house and they're gonna drag her out and they're gonna get her committed. That's like the plan. And Muriel's
Yeah.
inside. She's has the door locked. She's trying to prep. In a way, she's trying to prep for like them to break in and her to like, I guess, kind of defend herself however she can.
Yeah.
And Avalon's in the bathtub, just death's door having ass, right? And
Useless.
useless. They break in. She's in there with a fucking like butcher's knife or some shit,
Yeah.
and they essentially get her. They de-arm her, not literally. She still has arms, and then the multi-billionaire comes in and they kind of have a conversation. It goes about how you would think between a billionaire who's trying to buy something and a person that doesn't want to sell. Great conversation.
Yeah.
She gets to stick it to the man a little bit, but in the end, he's like, "All right, look, I was gonna have you committed, but you're pissing me off. You're gonna kill yourself in here, and that's what we're gonna do." And she's like, "Well, damn. All right, I don't know what the fuck to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to go out my way." And she's like, "I'll just maybe I would." I wouldn't be able to hang myself. Like, I'm old. But I mean, what I would do if I were to kill myself is I'd probably lay in the bathtub and just cut my wrist. And that's how she gets into the bathtub because they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. You're not really that
Yeah.
old and stupid. And she gets in the bathtub, she cuts herself. And that's when Avalon is able to get just enough to be able to,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Spring into action, basically.
well, I don't want to say spring into action. I want to say he gets enough to be able to, like, live, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the part that it was not confusing, but I didn't really understand how we got from one place to the other. It was described well, I just couldn't picture it in my brain. The billionaire with all the guards let the plastic woman go watch old granny. Oh, that's it. My bad. She had to pee.
I was gonna say, I know at some point she had to pee, where she was like, "Can I at least go to the bathroom before I do myself in," or something like that. And then like, so somebody had to go with her to go to the bathroom before she died, essentially. And that's how she ended up getting into the bathroom. I think you're confusing. I think what you said did happen. I think it might have just happened earlier before the billionaire got there.
Oh, dude, you're right. You're right. Yep. No, what I'm thinking of did happen. She did get in the bathtub, cut herself. Billy came out, killed a bunch of guards. That did happen. But that was
Yeah.
attempt one of the guards coming
Yeah.
out to kill her. Second time that the guards came out, they came out with the billionaire and the plastic woman. And they're like,
Yep.
nah, yeah, okay, no, you're right. You're right. Good catch. So, yeah, the second time, she's like, yeah, I have to pee. I'm an old woman. Don't let me soil myself here. Have some fucking respect. And she
For
goes in
real.
there with the plastic lady. The plastic lady's talking a bunch of shit. She's like, we should just kill you now. I think this is stupid. You're just a little dumb bitch. And she's just calling her all kinds of stupid names. Like, come
Yeah,
on, girl.
it's
Like,
just calling her every name in the book.
and that's when I forget. Is it the little blade in the wall, or did the what? How does the next second
Oh.
transpire?
Oh, how does that even get there? I forget. Because that does have something to do with it. Oh, you're right. Oh, fuck. It does have to do something with the blade. There was an incident, not around the house, but in the bathroom with Avalon, um, where oh, what the fuck happened? Where she did something and like it shot at like a razor blade or something like that into the wall, and like it that's kind of where it stayed essentially. And she does something to use that blade, and I can't remember if she cuts herself or if she cuts the plastic lady and like push her into the fucking um bathtub. I can't remember right now.
Oh, no, you're right. She does push her. She pushes her. The plastic
Okay.
lady hits the blade, and then she's like looking at it like ow, and Muriel pushes her into the tub, and then she gets very
It's
gruesomely
assimilated.
assimilated. It's not like Avalon was like eating.
He wasn't nice about it.
He was killing.
Yeah.
And after he kills, then he takes his actual form.
Yeah. And I remember hearing it and being like, that's fucking badass. But for right now, also for those listening, I don't know when the last time you listened to this, but for me it was like November. So I'm trying to remember from there. But he ends up dispatching like two other guards in the house while the millionaire's just chilling in there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So the guards break down the door because like the lady's not answering.
Okay.
Then they see Avalon. He quickly dispatches them, and that's when the son and the billionaire run in. Specifically, the
Mm.
other son, not the seventh
Yeah.
son.
Oh, good. Good. Wow, that's two now.
Yeah. The son slams the door on the billionaire to
Yeah.
get out of the bathroom slash the house.
Yeah, homie says,
Billionaire
I'm gonna
runs
fucking cheese it.
into the door and kind
Locked
of
in.
gets like dazed. Avalon finishes the other two guards, completing his 7-course meal. And
Yeah.
then he proceeds to violently assimilate the billionaire, which we
Mm-mm.
don't
Not yet.
actually. Oh, that's right.
No, that doesn't. She fucking takes him hostage. She takes the
That's
gun
right.
from one of the guys, and is like, "I'm gonna get the fuck out of here." And he goes, "Where the fuck are you gonna go? What the hell is that? And what do you think's gonna happen here?"
Yep.
And so essentially, she just like walks out with like a gun behind him,
Yep.
and Avalon in her purse again. or backpack, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was a backpack. I
Um,
don't know why it
yeah,
changed.
it was. I knew. I was gonna say I knew it was something bigger because he just got done eating, and so he's like, "We're gonna go to the beach," and all of this is now being filmed. Like the news people were out there, like Theo said earlier, and they're like, crazy old lady is like taking one hostage. The situation's occurring as we speak, and like her grandson calls and is like, "Grandma, what are you doing?" And she was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And he was like,
Standard grandma
"Yeah,
talking.
yeah." Honestly, hint number three, where she's a little out of touch with reality, where she
Yep.
hears her grandson and just immediately goes into grandma mode, and is like, "How you been? Like, what's going on with you?" And he was like, "Grandma, just stop.
Dude,
Like,
you're on
what are
the
you doing?"
news.
Yeah, Grandma, you killed like 5 people. Just stop. Who are you? And essentially, she just goes, "It's gonna be okay," and then hangs up. Like there was more to it. It was a heartfelt, like she knew it was
You
gonna be
could
the
tell it was like
last
a goodbye,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, because she knew this was like her last time she was gonna see or hear from him and stuff like that. And they had like a super close connection when he was younger and stuff like that. And essentially she just leaves with the billionaire and is like, "I'm taking him, and if anyone follows, I'm killing him." And essentially that does go to a plan until roll credits, the Haar moves in. And for those who don't know, the Haar is essentially like a mist coming off of off the water onto like land. And that's what the Scots call the Haar, I think. Well, I'm gonna Google that right now.
As we
Uh
speak, he's Googling the Har.
yes.
We'll know
Uh
very
well, that's
soon
not right.
what the
It's like a
Har
door hinge.
is.
It's saying a door hinge, but that's not right. The way they described it, was essentially like, let's look, Scottish.
He's
The
Googling
Har.
Scottish
It
myth.
just means fog. Like essentially, it like meteorology. Har or sea fret is a cold sea fog. It occurs often in the east coast of Scotland between April and December when warm air passes over air of the North Sea. So yes, the Har is like a mist or fog coming off the water onto land, and it's like super dense. It's like it's not like the mist you see rising from the fucking dew of the morning in fall. It is this dense fog coming in, and like essentially she just like disappears into the fog, and that's when everyone's like, so like we're going after her, right? And like the police go after her. The SWAT's there for some reason. They go in, and the son's like, "Go get my dad," but I'm not coming with. Yeah. And so they go to the sea cave where they met, and I'll let you take over from there.
Hell yeah. So basically, she has a conversation with old billionaire who's by this point, he's like offered money, he's offered
Anything.
anything he can. And you could tell he's kind of panicking because she's like, no, I just don't really want any of that. And he's like starting to mutter to himself like he's not having a good little time.
Calling her name, yeah, calling her names, just is like he's kind of slowly accepting the fact that there's nothing he can do, and he will probably die here.
Yeah, 1,000%. That's exactly what he's probably, hopefully, he's thinking. He deserves to only think that. But anyway, yeah. So there's a good little conversation. She talks with Avalon, and Avalon's like, hey, look, end of the day, I can get us out of here. You can come with me. You can live with me in the ocean, dude. It'll be fine.
You're either with me or not.
Yeah. And she's like, well, I can't fucking live in the ocean. He's like, no, no, no.
Shit.
I got you. And she's like, all right, well, I have to finish things up here. And then she kills the billionaire with the gun.
Yep.
shoots him dead in the head. And there's like a cute little exchange that she has with the billionaire.
Because
But
he's
like,
like begging for his life at that point, right?
yep,
And then she just
ugly
bam
ass,
wastes him.
not going to. And yeah, she said something to him, like her last words to him were something like, "Nah."
Witty one-liner.
Yeah, it was a witty one-liner because he's like, he said something on the lines of like, "Why don't you want anything?" And I think she said something along the lines of like, "I have everything." You
Yeah.
know, like I said, witty one-liner.
Yeah.
And then she shoots him, and then from this point forward, we no longer
You
get the
don't.
perspective from the cave or anything like that. We have no idea what's going on. We start getting the news perspective, and that threw me off when I was reading it because I was like, "Why are we reading this like from the news perspective? I know we're gonna miss something important." But
Probably did.
right, so
But
we see the news perspective. They're bullshitting. They say, "Oh yeah, the billionaire's he's on his way out right now," and the billionaire's coming out. He's basically running, butt ass naked, and his like security guards that were there with him, they start running and following him and joining him, right?
yeah.
And he's running towards like, in my opinion, I feel like he's running down the beach towards like where the news crew is, where her house is. And he gets all
Yep.
the way out there, and eventually there's this little like scuffle between the cops that show up and this billionaire and his security guards for some reason. And then
It was like, who has jurisdiction here? And they're like, get the fuck out of my way. I'm getting paid to get out of my way. Move, move. And they're like,
yeah,
that's evidence and shit like that.
yeah. And then billionaire, right, decides, you know what? This would be a great opportunity to just walk my naked ass into the water. And that's what
Yeah.
he does. He just starts walking into the water, and as soon as he gets like they describe this, and I think it's supposed to be important, but I didn't find it to be important. But I'll say it anyway. His guards follow him into the water, and one by one they start leaving him until he gets about like waist slash chest deep in the water, and then he's
Yeah.
by himself, and he turns around to face the news camera, and he hits one of those "be good" like right into the camera, and then we
Oh,
get the
yeah.
perspective of the grandson that Muriel was talking to on the phone. And we learn
Yep.
all about his backstory about how he was gay and everyone didn't accept him, but his grandma loved him and didn't give a shit.
Yep.
And he knew in that moment that she was talking to him.
Yep.
And then billionaire like turns around, faces the ocean, and dives in, and doesn't come back up. And we're left not knowing what really happens to the rest of the island. But what we do
Essentially.
know is that billionaire was Avalon,
Yeah.
and Muriel is like her.
Assimilated with them.
She's assimilated with him. Like her consciousness is in there because
Yeah.
the last little few lines we get of the book, which in my opinion are one of my favorite because this concludes the female rage that she had throughout the book. She starts wondering, like she's thinking to herself, like she's got to do something, and she's like, wow, the ocean's really big. I've always been scared, but I don't feel scared now. Huh. Ocean's blue. And like it starts to fade, like she starts thinking things that
Losing
are even
herself.
more and more simple, and she's thinking like less about herself and more about just what's in
Mm-hmm.
front of her. And it's kind of sad in a way because in my opinion this is how Muriel dies. Now we don't know for sure if she's dead or anything like that, right? But like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure her body was gone and the last thing to die was her like consciousness, because I think Avalon in the end did assimilate
Yeah.
completely
Because
with Muriel, but
it's one
like
of
he
those
did it
things where it's like,
humanely.
hey, you can do it with me. It's not gonna hurt, and you get to come with me. And she and her in her like hysteria state essentially is like, this is my husband. Why wouldn't I go with him?
Right.
and so goes with him, and it was just, oh gosh, it was just like a weird ending that I'm like, you did that for a reason, and I love that because like when the dude just runs out naked, I'm like, wait, what the fuck? The dude just got shot, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's probably okay, yeah, that's probably Avalon, and then in my mind, I'm like, dude, this is tanking this man's stock right now.
They did awkwardly
All the
describe his junk as being super small as well, and I enjoy that.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was like just such a shot out of left field, and I'm like, all right, didn't know we had to take a shot there, but you know what? These people have been calling you names. Pop off, Grandma.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that book. It was funny at times. It's considered a horror. I don't think I would consider it a horror,
No.
but I guess like if you're describing somebody getting their freaking dick melted off, essentially, you have to at least throw something in there about that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was good. Like you said earlier, I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed all the characters. They did a really good job of making you hate the bad guy and really fighting for this old lady.
Yeah. All in all, this was my first and only 5-star read of 2024.
Really, 5 stars, eh?
Yeah. Well, I say 5 stars as in like Goodreads only lets you go up to 5. So,
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense now. Sorry, I was using a website to like look up like the reviews and like stuff about books, and I didn't even realize it was Goodreads. But
yeah.
yeah, I agree. It was a very good book, and it was it just did everything right.
Yeah. Agreed. It did everything right. That being said, we are at our hour. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop us here.
Okay.
Overall, I think The Haar is a great book. You can read it any time of year. It doesn't have to be Hallowed Be Thy Ween season. I'm assuming if you made it to this point, you've either listened to The Haar before, read it before, or you just wanted the Spark Notes so you didn't have to read it. Either way, I would recommend this book to just about anybody. It's not scary enough to keep you awake. Female Rage is an amazing genre to read, and it was well paced. So that's my
Agreed.
overall thoughts. Do you have anything you'd like to add, man, before we?
Honestly, I think we've said it all. I think there's really nothing else to say about this book.
Yeah, no, I feel
It's
that.
just a good read,
Good,
as the
good
website.
reads. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today for the Gentlest of Men podcast, episode 14. I have been your host, the Viking Weeb, and my co-host today, No Name. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. And I'll catch you next time.
Later.